All right. A Stolen Throne.
A Stolen Throne, baby.
This is our first ever actual book club episode. Book club.
Book club.
Not video game book club, not book club asterisk book club. I'm really jazzed about that. So
do we have a bit of history about, like, you have read some of these books before, some of the Dragon Age books before.
Here's what I read. I didn't read the first two that we're going to read, The Stolen Throne and I think it's The Masked Empire is the second one.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
The King Kalen ones I didn't read. I've read all of the comics, and I've read Tevinter Nights. And
The Stolen Throne and The Calling are the first two.
The Calling. I have read The Masked Empire. That's not the...
Yeah.
Yes. So I haven't read The Calling.
And then, so it's Stolen Throne, The Calling, Asunder, all by David Gator.
Yes.
Masked Empire by Trick.
Yes.
Last Flight by Liane Marcel. Tevinter Nights by loads of people, right? Loads of people.
Yeah, Tevinter Nights is by a bunch of the writers. Yeah.
And then it's, and those are the books.
So it's really the first two that I have never read. But the thing is, with the books and even the comics, I've never reread them. So, like, unlike the games where I've played them like a million times, I read these books, like, some of them upwards of 10 years ago or something.
Oh, very good.
Like, and never again. So, like, I think they're all gonna feel relatively new to me.
Huge.
But these first two are brand new.
Yeah. How do we start an actual book club? How do we do it?
I know.
So explain it a little bit. I haven't read any of these. I'm going to say I'm not a big reader. It's a thing which every year I try to reinvent myself and I try to read. I've only read like a handful. I've gotten more into reading recently. I'm a big audiobook guy is the thing, which I know is reading, but like sitting down and reading is not a thing. Yeah. I mean, gosh. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my favorite book ever is a book called Hyperion, which is a very...
I just packed that.
Did you just pack my...
I just packed...
You packed the sequel. You packed... and The Fall of Hyperion. Hyperion is here.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Which is a very heavy sci-fi book that I just adore. And then next on the list, still possibly first, is Treasure Island, is my favorite book. Great book. But haven't read Treasure Island, but Audible did, because they're doing now, and it's a thing that I think is awesome. They do like readings of classic literature, but with multiple people doing it. So I'm listening to a Dracula one that is Jim Cummings and Tim Curry. Wait, and as well as a bunch of other actors. So fucking good. It's brilliant. There I have Pride and Prejudice by Rosamund Pike, which I'm excited to listen to. But this Treasure Island one is Catherine Tate.
My God. Wow.
Yeah, really, really good. Has more people. Okay. Philip Glenister is the lead. He's in... Do you know him? He's in a Life on Mars. He's very popular in the UK. Is Philip Glenister. He is also... Oh, God. This is not even a little bit about Dragon Age, but we'll talk.
Who cares? Who cares? What's his name again?
Philip Glenister. Glenster. Philip Glen. No, it is Glenister. He's in Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes.
For sure. I know of this guy at least a little bit.
Yeah. He's a cool guy.
I've seen him in Mad Dogs.
There you go. Anyway, he's very good in it. He's Long John Silver.
Excellent.
Yeah. Anyway, it's brilliant. But it's my favorite telling of Treasure Island. I love.
Yeah, I do really love those like fully voice acted audiobooks.
Really cool.
That's how I first read American Gods, which I know he's the worst or whatever. But it was definitely like an experience to like hear that story fully.
Yeah.
voice acted by like astounding performers.
Do you know what's
Yeah, it
crazy?
was
I'm surprised they haven't done it with Game of Thrones yet. I would have imagined because it's so
Game of
point
Thrones
view.
is not fucking finished, and he's
True.
never fucking writing that last book. So then they would just be doing this all over again. Except,
Yeah,
they would.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
That would be sick though. If they got like
It would be.
if they got like an all-star like cast to do like they do each chapter of Game of Thrones. That'd
Yeah.
be fucking awesome.
It would be a really fun prank to do that, knowing he's never writing the book, and then to just be like, yeah, no, by the time we get to it, don't worry, gang, it's coming out. And make everybody
on the
fucking
hook, gang.
edge right again the same way.
I fucking will.
Mm.
I will edge is what I mean. I've had a
I know.
friend just dictating all of Game of Thrones to me as they're rewatching it. And I just got so mad at the end of it again.
It's really disappointing.
I
Yeah.
hate it. I'm so angry with it. Yeah. But those, actually, speaking of Audible, our best friend and sibling, Grace,
Oh my god.
has just
Most
gone
perfect
through
person.
most perfect person in the world, has gone through all of the Gideon the Ninth series,
Gideon the Ninth,
or the Locked
yeah.
Tomb series.
Riveting
bought-
TikTok series that she made about it.
Yeah, she's the best woman in the world. So I bought all of those on Audible because the audiobook for Gideon the Ninth is so good. I listened to most of it, and the voice actress is phenomenal. It's crazy. So I got those, and then I also got Game of Thrones because I was like, I actually kind of need to. Because Grace gets me into media is the thing. Like, the only reason I watch House of the Dragon is because Grace talked nonstop about House
Yeah.
of the Dragon for 15 years.
She's
So then
100% the only person that's ever gotten me to watch a single episode of Lost, and that is that's a decades old battle. I have hated the idea of that show for such a
I
long
thought
time.
you were just being mean the whole time.
No.
I didn't realize.
I
you
mean,
had...
I was being mean. I
No,
but I
yeah,
have
I know,
real
but I
beef
thought you were
about
just.
it.
What is it?
This stupid show took all of my friends every fucking weekend
Oh my
through
God.
college, and the concept was so stupid, and then they'd all talk about it, and they'd all be like, and I would just be
Your
like,
favorite show ever is Dollhouse. Why are you yelling about concepts being weird?
no, not weird, stupid,
I know, but if I called
Stupid.
Dollhouse stupid, you would have an aneurysm. So I had
because
to.
it's not. Because it's not. It's a really good show with a really good concept. That's actually like really poignant to like what the world is like today. And I think like maybe you should consider
People
it.
surviving after a plane crash is pretty cool. Yellow Jackets is huge.
Do they survive after a plane crash, Robin? Or is it some silly made up dream stuff? Because or are they in Is that what Lost is about?
It kind of is.
Surviving a plane crash?
It kind of is.
Lost is Once Upon a Time, the television show. It's
It
the
is.
same show.
Yeah.
And it's as silly as Once Upon a Time, the TV show. And so if every time Lost is like, ooh, a twist, you have to imagine that it's like, oh my God, Rumpelstiltskin was Beast. You have to, that's the same
You're so cruel. Cruel
to
person.
Lost the TV show. Yes.
I don't like how often our friend group references Once Upon a Time. It needs to stop, actually.
It's such a good point of reference for pop culture. You- What do you mean Peter Pan was Rumpelstiltskin's dad? And that's what all my friends sounded like every fucking Sunday morning in college. And I was like, gang, this fucking sucks.
Fucking insane. It's just so weird. Weird thoughts. Okay. Books.
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 All right, books.
We
So-
read the first 5 chapters.
First 5 chapters.
Dragon Age: The Stolen Throne. So, Dragon Age: The Stolen Throne is the prequel to Origins,
Yeah.
which is really cool. This focuses on both Prince Marek before he was king and Logain Mactyr. skyrocket up in my ranks to being my number one boy, actually, is Logain.
Yeah, we're gonna fight about it.
We're going to fight about
We're gonna fight about it.
Hey, gang. We have had Dylan and I call like every day, right? We call for a couple hours every day to check in. Almost every day since we started reading this, we have said we're gonna have an argument on this episode because I have some thoughts. I have some passages that I have highlighted like I'm in school. I've got my little highlighters out. Wait, oh my God, imagine hitting. There we go. We got some more better highlighted passages. I have a lot of feelings about this book. I just want to say straight, first and foremost, it fucks.
It fucks. I'm loving it.
It's so sick. Do you know what's crazy? Feels like Dragon Age.
It feels like fucking Dragon Age. It feels like Dragon Age.
And you know what? For all of our comments on the fact that the Veilguard are doing Marvel type put-ins and how it's like, but how would they do that well? I've never had like an answer for it. They do it in this.
Yeah.
They do it in this where they're just like, here's a guy from the game. Here's someone from the game.
Tegan
like,
and
Tegan, Flemeth turning up.
Turning up. My God. So okay.
Okay. That was a weird reaction.
Because I don't think Flemeth turning up is like I feel like it's like Flemeth turning up is because Flemeth is the connective tissue of this whole entire fucking series. Like,
no, but I mean, like, she's like, an important part, and she turns up, and it's like it has weight. Using Marvel reveals, like, it's weird because I mean it in a specific way, and not in the like they're turning up and they're there because they're there. It's like having someone who you know and love turn up for a scene and then leave. That's what I mean when I'm talking about Marvel reveals. Yeah. And Flemeth, that is kind of it. She turns up. She's, you know what? Let's talk about what happens in the book.
Let's go for it.
In these first 5 chapters. So we start in media res of Marek sprinting away. His mother, the rebel queen, was just assassinated by Orlesians.
The Orlesians have put a usurping king on the throne in Ferelden. And like Ferelden has been losing this civil war essentially.
Pretty heavily.
But with the rebel queen and her army being like the only thing pushing it back.
Marek is 18 in this. Yes, they had lured them there by giving his mother promises of aid. It was nobles of Ferelden were like, oh, hey, we'll actually come help you. Let's have a big meeting about it. And then when she arrived, they slaughtered all of them. He gets away. He kills his first man in the most brutal way.
So brutal.
He smashes his head over and over again into a tree root until he doesn't know what happens to him, but it's just mush because later he talks about how he has viscera on his hands after he's in the daylight. I've highlighted the passage of Marek crashed the man's head down on the tree root a 3rd time, even harder. You killed her, Marek shouted. He picked the man's head up by the hair again to slam it down. You bastard, you killed her. He smashed the head down again and again and again. It's pretty crazy.
It's brutal. Well, because like in this whole scene leading up to him killing this guy, Marek is barely getting away. He's gotten a concussion himself. He's like fallen into like several pits. He's at like the end of his rope when he encounters this guy in the woods. And like it's like this, like you're reading like almost this whole entire first chapter of him just like seeming like
it's
he's
fully
not gonna
a
get away.
survival novel.
And then he encounters this guy and fucking takes him out in that like act of desperation. It's intense.
It's good though. It's great.
It's really good.
And then we cut over to Logain, who is with his father and his father's like encampment of like murderers and thieves and people who not really are looking for a second chance, but are like, we need a place to be.
Right. And they're also rebels. Like but they're not part of the rebel army. These are like civilians who have escaped like the Orlesian army as well. there's like,
Yeah.
and there's an escaped Chantry sister there who like, is disgraced from the church, and like there's all kinds of
Yeah,
people.
and Logain and his father Gareth, I think. I'll find the name later. I know because I highlighted it.
It's
Gareth. It is Gareth.
Gareth. Yeah.
It's Gareth. Gareth MacTier. Um, there's like a very little explanation as to why they're like running away, and it's because the Orlesian Emperor was like put like a big tax on everyone, and then Logan's father managed to scrape it together, and then they raised it again, and then they raised it again, and then eventually they just came and then killed Logain's mother, and the pair of them escaped. Ran away. Logain is with Danon, who is like not really Logain's second, but is like one of
like a lieutenant,
someone
kind
who's
of
important. Yeah.
Both
of the Marek runs into Logain, and then Logain saves him, but very, very reluctantly is just like I'm gonna, like, we have a camp.
Danon is like, fuck no. And Logain is like, no, you're coming with us. Like, Logain kind of insists on saving him at first, which is very interesting.
It is. And it's part of he's my favorite guy. Marek lies about, calls himself Hiram, and pretends that he's not the prince because he doesn't know who Logain is, and is like, these people could just be trying to kill me.
And he concocts a lie that basically there are like loyalist soldiers like out in the area, because like simultaneously going on, we know that there is there's some kind of noble, I forget who it is, that's like coming through the area for like diplomatic reasons, and so there is like a reason for the army to be around.
Is it Ban Krulik?
Yes, Ben Kurlik or Sirlik's men. I'm not sure how to.
Yeah, I'm not sure the pronunciation of that.
But yeah, so that so there's like, he comes up with this lie that it's like, the band's men were around the woods and they caught wind of me and they chased me away. They killed my friend, he says at first.
Yeah. Then Marek passes out, wakes up in the middle of the camp, Logain's camp, meets Sister Alis, who is the disgraced kind of unjusty person. She then starts saying a prayer, and I really like this bit. She starts saying a prayer, and then Marek finishes it. And then she says, "An educated man," and is very impressed. But Marek, so it's an educated man. The sister seemed impressed, but Marek cursed his need to show off. Which I thought was very funny. He gets rumbled because he just can't keep the fact he wants to be good and cool.
The fanciest boy at the party.
He can't keep it away.
Because he's a little prince.
I just love it.
There's also a lot of like, we get a lot of inner dialogue or like inner thoughts from Marek while he's being chased and while he's in the encampment, that like his mother was not just like the rebel queen. She was a leader of her army. She was extremely like, she had the people's genuine love. Like the whole rebel army loved her. Men would easily and happily die for her. And she was like such an, like, she had such integrity as a soldier that she was always like on the front lines of the battlefield with her, her men. And he's like reflecting on like how, like, he's not none of those things. He was like basically like a pampered little prince that was told he was, wonderful every day, and he's now like in this
in hell.
He's in hell like this, and he's, unlike his mother, completely unprepared for what is happening to him right now.
Logain doesn't trust him at all. Is like angry about it. Then he meets Gareth, and Gareth is, again, the leader, Logain's dad. He seems great, like just like a guy who's very kind to him. And then Gareth clocks, or like Logain goes, whilst he gets Marek to tell the story again, Marek Marek does originally say to the sister, "Oh yeah, they killed my mother," but then later to Gareth said, "Oh, they killed my friend," and then Gareth is
Yeah.
like, "I thought they killed your mother," and clocks immediately, "Oh, this guy's
Yeah.
something else." And
Because the sister, so he says my friend to Logain and Dannon when they first meet. And
yeah,
then they go to the camp, and then he's left alone with the sister, and the sister is like comforting him and talking to him and gets him to open up that like they killed his mother. He still keeps the lie that it's the bandsmen, but then she's like they want to meet you. She leaves the tent. Like minutes later, he walks over and is back to that same original lie. And the sister had immediately told them
everything.
that, yeah.
And there's a thing they talk about later of the fact that Logain clocks that Sister Alis and Gareth, his father, like do love each other, and like
They love each other.
in a different world would be together. But then I think it was like they even mentioned like, oh, they talked about it, but then the sister was too dedicated to the Chantry, so they decided to just be friends. But they're like super
it was just,
close, and like
if not for the war, in different times they would.
Many people saw the sister being the camp's leader almost as much as his father was, which is another line that she said. Logain goes to kill Marek because of the lie that he trips himself up on. It's like, oh, this guy's a spy then. And then Gareth's like, no, don't do it. We'll find out what's happening. Then the camp
he tries to say, well, my mother was like my best friend or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. He's just bad at lying.
And
yeah.
Logain's like, fucking, oh God.
I also like the fact there's a bit where Logain's like, I don't know if you're the best spy in the world or the worst spy in the world. Like, you're the best spy and you're just being an idiot, or you can't lie for shit.
But regardless of whether or not Marek is a spy or genuinely running from something, people are out looking for him, and the encampment is no longer safe. So, like, regardless of what the truth to his lie is, like, they're like, we have to be prepared for the possibility that we all have to run.
And that does happen. The camp gets jumped by a bunch of soldiers, all looking for Marek. Marek, what's up?
Nothing.
Oh, you just looked so quickly and
I
shocked.
just got startled by my phone buzzing, that's all.
Yeah, a bunch of soldiers jump the camp and are looking for Marek. Marek is like, hey, so they're looking for me. And Gawain is like, why though? Why would it's not Gawain, sorry, Gareth is like, yeah, but why would that be happening? And he's like, I'm kind of the prince. Logain is furious. Logain's dad immediately gets on one knee and is like, I'm going to die for you then, right now. Marek then knights him. She's very cute and fun.
To me, this is like the biggest moment in the 5 chapters that we've read so far.
Oh, yeah?
Like this moment, because it's the moment where, because like we've not a lot of material actions have happened, but we've spent so much time in Marek's head for like the first couple of chapters, like while he's running, and like this, like he does really come across as just a scared kid with no like barely any survival skills and definitely no princely skills. And this moment where he's so far been hunted and distrusted by everybody he's come across. Gareth taking a knee and reminding him what his responsibility is to Ferelden now. And he has this thought about like all the men that would die in service to my mother, what she would have done, and he has that awareness, and then he offers it. It's very, I think it's just such a great little interaction where he's like, were you a knight? And he says no, and he knights him.
And he's like,
Gareth,
so shocked. He's so proud and happy that he's being knighted. And
yeah, Gareth is like really emotional, and the sister is crying. And and so then, yeah, but Logain is like, fuck you. I don't care about any of this.
His father forces Logain to give him his word that he's going to protect Marek and get him out of this situation. Logain reluctantly agrees. They then run away, and then they turn back, and then they watch Gareth kill like a bunch of people, and then eventually get killed himself. And they run off into the wilds,
into the Kokari Wilds.
The Kokari Wilds.
We know about those places.
We know about this place. There's a lot of cool, like, kind of subtle lore things. Like, one of Marek's tutors had explained the reason for the mist, something related to one of the region's old legends, but he couldn't recall any particulars, which I thought was fun. Just like a tiny little bit about the mist in the Kokari Wilds, about how it's always there. I just thought it was a fun little, like, we kind of learned some stuff about that in the game, and weird magic stuff. I like just the tiny little lore drops of, like, oh, people have theories about why this thing happens, but I can't remember it right now. Marek, they huddle down for the night. Marek is like, I'm actually too much of a burden, and you did get me out of the wild, so I'm going to go now. He leaves. Logain doesn't argue with him because they have like a little spat, and then later on, Logain then immediately turns up and is like, I'm not going to have you just die in the wilds. I just saved you now. I don't think my dad would be very happy about that.
Yeah.
Then they get captured by some elves, some Dalish elves.
Yeah, and the Dalish are like I thought it was interesting because the Dalish like are we meet them in the games, and we know that they're like disconnected from human culture, but the book, I think, really like sells that a little stronger than the games do. That like Marek and Logain both knew nothing about them. Like
it's not even
literally nothing.
It's Logain knows a little bit. Marek,
but they were like hypothesizing about like whether they eat people or like things like that. They had like no real.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a bit where Logain says, "Oh, we'll complain to the Dalish," and they're complain to the Dalish. Perhaps they take requests. Marek sat up, squinting past the fire. Is that who they are? I was wondering about all the markings on their faces. And Logain says, "You don't know about the Dalish," which I think is a very fun little bit that, it proves that they are so separated. Or just Marek just doesn't have any fucking clue about things outside of the nobility stuff. There's a little tiny bit about elves that I thought was really cool. It's at just before they're getting jumped. Then he saw it just ahead in the deep shadows between the two taller trees. 2 points of light glinted at them, like cat's eyes, as it watched you in the dark, like elf eyes. And I thought that's fun. That elves have cat's eyes, like reflective.
They're supposed to have like iridescent. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
I wish that came through in the games. So
wish it came through.
So
it was just
rad.
So interesting. I really loved that little detail. It's a thing I didn't know at all. Then Logain and Marek are taken to go see the Witch of the Wilds. They see Dammon strung up and like bloated, and a bloated corpse now because he didn't do what she asked.
Into the branches of a Sylvan.
Yeah.
Which you know how I fucking feel about
a lot of Sylvans here.
Baby.
A lot of Sylvans here.
A lot of Sylvans
Big
here.
Sylvan day.
Also, I want to point out tons of references to like the atmosphere and the places that we go in the Dalish camp quest. So there's references to Ironbark, and like they talk more about like how Ironbark is made.
It makes me wonder if it is the same camp, but like X amount of years previous, because I mean, they even mention werewolves being around in these parts of the woods.
Correct. They talk about the werewolves.
So
They
it's
also,
like it might just be the Brazilian forest is where they are. I mean, no, they're in the Kakari Wilds. Is the
they're in
Brazilian forest in the Kakari
It
Wilds?
is. Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah.
Yep. And so they talk about like the big fallen tree that like crosses the river, which like we've past.
Crossed
They talk
that,
about they talk about the bears and like all the wolves and like stuff like that, and like it's like and they encounter all these things. Anyway, I really like that.
No, it's really cool. I was thinking it like whilst I was reading, I was like, is this the Brazilian forest? It's the same place. No, it's really sick. They go to the Witch of the Wilds, which they're both talking about how they know of the Witch of the Wilds, but have never met her. Then they describe Flemeth. She's never named as Flemeth. She's just the Witch of the Wilds.
But you can hear her in every line of dialogue.
Oh, absolutely. She's so creepy in this as well. She is truly like a forest hag.
She's a bog witch, yeah.
Yeah, truly, she's fucking weird. She just has bloated corpses just around as she's doing shit. She says some interesting stuff. She says to Marek, keep him close. He will betray you each time
worse than the last. Yeah, baby.
Says that about Loghain.
I was like, yeah, he fucking will.
Horny for that.
Horny for that.
And then she says that she'll lead them out, but she needs a favor from Marek, and we don't know what the favor is yet. Marek agrees.
They go into like a locked room, yeah.
Go into a locked room, and then it's end of chapter as he agrees, and then it's just Loghain kind of freaking out about what it might be. They are then led out by a magical bluebird, led out of the forest. And then they are set upon once again, just as they leave. It's also like as they're leaving the forest, being led by this bluebird, there are things where it's like there are wolves that. So before they meet Flemeth, they get jumped by a bunch of wolves, and then after they meet Flemeth, they get jumped by wolves again. But this time the wolves just kind of leave them alone.
Yeah,
and Loghain mentions like, oh, she is really protecting us to get out of this forest. It's something that she's doing.
They're guided by a bird.
Yeah, this little bluebird. But then as they leave, they're set upon again by more riders. Loghain does he's great. He heavily injures a few of them, takes a full flail to the chest, and then stands back up again and is like, he says something. Oh God, I don't think I properly. The first one that comes for us, he vowed, is losing an arm. That I can guarantee.
Yeah.
God, he's fucking sick. And then off the horse, Rowan appears, an old friend of Marek's, promised to him at a young age. The daughter of the Arla.
Hold on, because that we don't learn for a bit. And that had me fucking kicking my feet, kicking my little feet on the subway because we meet Rowan. She recognizes Marek. They're both surprised to see each other. Marek, in internal monologue, tells us the reader a story about how they used to be super competitive together as kids and like, bully each other and stuff like that. And now she is like a fighter that's like kind of on target to be like his mother. Like she's just a like
daughter of the Earl of Redcliffe.
She's the daughter of the Earl. And they're very, very good friends. And like, and so they go back to the, they go back to Redcliffe, I believe it is, because they go to Arl.
I don't know if they go all the way back to Redcliffe yet.
Or they go to, where do they go? They go to wherever the rebel army is, wherever the Queen's army was. And Rendorn Gweren is there, which is the Arl of Redcliffe at the time. And there's a big army. There is a mage who commands a big golem.
Who I believe is Shale. I
Yes.
think it is heavily hit. Yeah, it is
I
Shale.
think so. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I saw dialogue, if you get Loghain in Origins and you get him to walk around with Shale, Loghain will bring it up.
That's awesome. I did
yeah.
not know that.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, so this mage commands a stone golem to protect the army.
This mage is Wilhelm as well.
Wilhelm, yes. And basically they're already preparing for battle when we arrive there with Marek and Loghain and Rowan.
Yes, it is. I'm so sorry to interrupt. It is fully because
it is, right?
You go to Wilhelm's house.
You do. You totally
in Origins.
Do.
That's the stone prisoner is Wilhelm. So it is Shale. This stone golem is Shale.
Perfect. So
how fucking cool. Oh my god.
That's so cool. That's so rad. So the whole camp, the whole army is like already preparing for battle when they arrive there. They say that they're being encroached from like 2 points, which is where we start to get all of the foreshadowing handed to us so heavily.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's like the army is encroaching from both sides. And so the plan that is proposed by the Arl, I think, is like, we're going to send a decoy.
No. The Arl wants
Arl...
just Marek to leave.
Yes.
And with a small unit of people.
And it's like, we'll all die.
Refuses. And it says, no, I'm going to stay here and fight. And the Arl is getting super pissed. And is like, no, because you will all die. And then Loghain says a thing. Oh, God.
Loghain says another banger.
He said, this is a banger, though.
Yeah.
They start talking about Marek's mother and how she and like she would understand the fight and she would understand that you need to get away. She's dead. Marek slammed his fist down on the table hard. And I would rather die beside these men than abandon them to save my own skin. I won't do it. Don't be stubborn. There is no point in fighting just to lose. Then win. Loghain suddenly blurted out. His interruption was unexpected enough that even Arl Rendorn stared in surprise. Rowan arched a brow curiously at Loghain, came forward. His expression stayed annoyed. Don't stay and lose, he repeated. Stay and win. What the coolest guy in the fucking world. Shut up. And this is when he starts becoming the commander.
The
like
general.
When people are like, oh, he's one of the best generals. Tacticians.
And this is where he proposes, okay, we'll do a decoy. We'll wear Marek still has his mother's like purple cloak that like signals royal. Like, we'll put Loghain in that cloak. We're going to send a decoy off into the woods. And that way the flanking army is going to go chase that. The army here can easily take one army.
Yeah.
They'll be fine. And then when they've done that, they can come and do a rescue.
Yeah. And Loghain is doing like, so Loghain's the one that's going to, be dressed up and run. And Loghain sends himself and the 30 knights that he brings with him to a place that is like easily protectable, but if they get trapped, they're just fucked and they'll die because there's no way of leaving it. And he's like, we're just going to win though. That's what we're going to be there. We won't be there for very long because the rest of the army are going to come help us out, but just fight well and we won't lose.
Yeah.
He's fucking awesome.
funny story though. Then Loghain, they go and do this. It works. Everything is working. The rebel army is handling them their business with the the
Orlesians are
with the Orlesians
successfully tricked.
The other flanking army comes and follows. Loghain and his men are like taking them at least for a time, and they're doing a good job, but it's going on longer than expected because in the main fight, like Marek is still like trying to get into the center of the fight, and that defeats the purpose, of like the fact that you, the prince,
Yeah.
need to survive. So they're like struggling to get him not to fight. And it's
But
just
also the Arl refuses to send the flank to save Loghain.
correct. So they're like they're holding back on this. And so Rowan, who has already had some pretty flirty little dialogue with Loghain leading up to this, little light little things where they both talk about how good at war they both are.
Yeah.
And they're so hot. And then Rowan goes to her father and is like, it's time to send them. And he's like, no, you go and rush the attack and push them back. And so she makes the executive decision on her own to go with her and her men instead of like rushing in to like finish the job on the main on the main front.
On the main group, they're going to go save Loghain.
Save Loghain. And Loghain, as he's waiting for this to happen, this son of a bitch is like, they're probably not coming. That's what I would do. I wouldn't send them. And I was like, and yet, motherfucker, someone went against that and came and fucking saved you. And it all fucking works. Like, it all works. And yet, you fucking dirtbag.
He goes down from 30 men to 7, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, Loghain is just fighting tooth and nail, is like covered in gore, and he's like, I've been stabbed like several times, as he's been stabbed under the shoulder, he's been stabbed between like any loose plate that he has, he's bleeding from everywhere, as is every single knight that fights with them. But then they end up winning.
They win.
They win the battle. Then in the evening, Marek is walking around, and there's a bunch of people like, oh my god, Marek was so good on the field, I'm so proud, I'm going to tell my grandkids that I fought with the king. And and it's like everyone is so proud of the fact that they won, and not only that they won, but they fought with Marek. It's a thing that
young prince.
I love. This is a vibe that I whenever I play like big fantasy games, I do the stereotype. I play princes and kings. I love a prince. I love a king. I love that's the British in me. I love that kind of. I love that vibe. But the like that kind of aesthetic of, oh, I fought with them. Like those people telling those like big stories to their grandkids because they're just so proud to have fought next to like the warrior king is awesome, and I loved it. And everyone at the end toasted to the queen.
But everybody is like so proud that they fought against Marek and with Marek, alongside Marek, and Loghain is just talking about what a warrior Rowan is, and like just like praising how much of a warrior she is.
He does. Now that we've done our little story catch up, I'm going to say my inflammatory thing that you might hate. You might also agree.
Okay.
I have my favorite ship in all of Dragon Age. It is Loghain and Marek is the biggest ship that I have. These two love each other so much. This is a gay book for gay people. There are pieces that I've highlighted of things that they think at each other. Okay, I have this. I'm gonna find this fucking one.
You go ahead, because you find your little passage, because Loghain is so fucking hard up for Rowan because he saw her brutally cut down all of the men on the battlefield that were about to kill him, and
I don't care about that.
and he is complimenting her to her father, being like, she's an incredible warrior, she's a champion, whatever. And then minutes go by, they're having more dialogue, they're having this toast, and And he says, Marek says, I was so worried when I didn't see you appear on the battlefield, Rowan. Like, I thought that you might have died. And she is like, you're not getting out of it that easy. Don't worry about me. And Logain's like, get out of what? And the Arl is like, oh, these two are engaged. They've been promised to each other since they were kids.
Mm.
And Logain just goes, oh, and looks back at the fire. And I was like, fuck, that is,
It's
because now it's like,
it's crazy because he's in love with Marek is the thing.
It's
and
crazy
it's
because he is gonna kill Marek because he is a petty bitch of a man, is what it is. He's mad that his dad died. He's mad that this guy is betrothed to this hot warrior.
This excerpt is from chapter 2.
All right, give it to me.
Marek, for his part, was proving difficult to hate. He kept pace and had yet to complain, not about being hungry or exhausted or anything else. He also did what he was told and had saved himself more than once from blundering into danger by responding instantly to Logain's barked orders. If he had one flaw, it was the talking. The man chatted constantly and amiably about almost anything. If it wasn't his amazement at the size of the trees, it was his assessment of the size of the wilds, or his recollection of the law of the Chasen people that were supposed to live in the forest. Logain listened quietly to the constant prattle, wishing nothing more than for him to shut up. After the second night, Marek became quieter, and Logain was disgusted to discover he actually missed the sound.
Yeah.
I read that, and I was like, oh, I need these two. This is my read is that these two are going to fall in love. I love them. I love the pair of them so much. Later on, when the flame finally caught, he could have jumped for joy, and he would have given much to listen to Marek ask 20 different questions about how he managed it. He's obsessed with this guy. He wants to hate him and can't. He's proving difficult to hate. He loves him. When Rowan finally brought a bruised and bloodied Logain to the fire at their new tent, still wearing fancy leathers and soiled, tattered remains of the Queen's purple cloak, Marek cried out with glee, ran forward, and swept up the startled Logain into a bear hug. These two fucking love each other. I just can't. I just get so giddy.
I see that
about every single interaction that they have.
Yeah.
Logain remained mounted, however. Come on, dude. Come on. This is a book about these two men falling in love. I fucking refuse it. I'm so obsessed with this. I ship these two so hard. And knowing that in the opening chapter of Dragon Age Origins, Logain has Marek killed, makes the fact that these two love each other so fucking tragic to me.
And that Marek calls him his uncle. All right.
Gang,
calm
down. Yourself.
We get it. We know, we understand that we are mixing things up. We figure it out.
Yeah. Listen, there's too many names to begin with. And we already know one of these guys.
And we
just thought we knew the other guy as well.
Look, we just got a little bit of wires crossed, and you know what? It'll happen to one of you one day.
Yeah.
You'll be.
Who's gonna be there to jump on your ass? Not us.
Who's gonna be in your comments? Yeah. Who's gonna be in your comments?
Us. We don't care. We're gonna sit there. You're gonna get a name wrong, and we're gonna be like, "Hey, listen, happens to all of us. Don't you even worry about it."
Yeah. So we figure it out way later in this episode. And you'll get to see that.
It out so we stop recording. Then about 15 minutes in real time happens where we keep talking about the book and we're like, we should re-record. And then we start recording and then we figure it out. So we technically don't even figure it out in this episode. We figure it in the post-mortem of this episode.
You know what, Robin? We're giving them too much. We're giving
sorry.
They
grow up about it.
Grow up. We figure it out. We get there.
Are we going to tell you what we figure out? No.
Some of you already know, because some of you were already polishing your little fingertips. getting ready to get ready to put your little sass in the comment section.
We get
so clear, and it's like, all right.
We get it.
We
Shut
get
up about it, eh? That's not real. That's not real. It doesn't exist.
Ugh.
They are also the same age. They were born in the same year. I googled it because for me, Logain was born a 48-year-old man, and I struggle looking at him at 18. But they were both born in the same year.
Yeah.
I just love it. The like reluctant knight to the prince who he's trying to hate because he gets his father killed, and then really quickly realizing that he actually likes him so much. Putting his own life on the line to ride out, knowing he was like, I wouldn't do this plan because I would just fucking let me die. If but doing it anyway.
He's not doing any of this for
Marek.
He's not doing any of this for Prince Marek. He's not. He's doing all of this for his father, for the fact that like this is
He was at the beginning. He left at the beginning. That's the inciting incident, is that his father told him to do it. And then he immediately, his conscience keeps hitting him. I'm telling you right now, we're doing a Dragon Age Origin run. I'm having Logain live. I need to see who this guy is because I'm getting crazy obsessed with this character. A guy who's literally just the villain, just like in a few scenes of Origins. I'm going to have this guy be someone who I need to see his full story arc happen if he becomes a Grey Warden, forced into becoming a Grey Warden, to the point where I might count it as a canon ending for me if I finish this book and I love Logain as much as I currently do.
Yeah, no, he's a great. Don't get me wrong, he's a great character. I do not see a
We've
romance
already had
in this. Yeah, I do not see a romance between him and Marek at all.
Child, open your damn eyes.
I do see what I do see is that I see that Logain is a character that never ever lets go of his anger. And like the thing is, like, he wants to like Marek. He's liking Marek, and he is so fucking stubborn that he continues to betray him. And that's the read I'm getting so far, is that he is going to continue to betray him at all costs, because he's
I just
never
got love in my
gonna
heart.
like him.
I don't know what to tell you. I got so much love.
And do you know who doesn't? Logain MacTier. Has no fucking love in his heart. Zero.
Oh dear. It's a great book. I'm having a great time with it. It's so cool.
It's a really good book. It's great.
It's really neat.
The way that Flemeth talks, just I can hear her voice so well. I can see the pieces of Marek and Logain. I can see who they like become, you know.
It's actually really cool to see Marek.
Marek is
ultimately
we meet him for like, we know Logain in the game way more than we know Marek. We meet Marek in just that first scene, and then we see him die. That's it.
This book does make his comment of, I mean, admittedly, it still makes sense, the comment, but Marek being like, oh, I was kind of hoping to have a big fight just like the stories. And I'm like, Marek, you led a rebellion. You're a pretty big story battle you got in your pal. But he's talking about he wants a Darkspawn with the Grey Wardens. That's what he wants.
Because
which is a different guy to who we're reading right now. We're reading a scared kid.
And for
him to later on being like, I'm stoked. I'm going to ride Frontline. Like, we're doing this damn thing. Is cool.
Which is that is from just even like a couple flashbacks we've gotten. I think that is him being like his mother, him being the rebel queen. Like he is now someone who can lead an entire army against all odds. And right now, you know, we're seeing a scared kid version of that guy. Yeah,
well, I'm loving it. I think this is great. It's making me enjoy Dragon Age more. Yeah, me too. It's giving like weird context to things, and like, you know, it's because we're reading this book knowing what Loghain does eventually, and the book knows that you know that because it's referencing it a bunch and shit like
right.
that.
It's feeding you the foreshadowing. Like we're
but
getting
it's so
that.
cool. We're watching two people who, I mean, I'm reading them as they like each other, but also, but you can just read it as their best friends or friends who will eventually, be that. But then knowing that they kill each other, and also even if you're doing your read of like Loghain never lets go of their anger, seeing that Marek is becoming best friends with Loghain, and Loghain isn't like having that to what it's like, it just makes the whole thing so sad.
Well, and I can't wait to find out what this fucking promise is, because whatever it is, like the Witch of the Wild, Flemeth tells Marek straight up, Loghain's gonna betray you.
Yeah.
And Marek is continuously still insisting that Loghain stay with him. And I am curious about what was said behind those closed doors, because it wasn't brief. It was hours, according to the book, that they were behind closed doors having this conversation.
It was we cut from him agreeing to the next day.
Yeah.
When it's like, he just hasn't been here.
Yeah.
It's been with
So I'm like really curious to learn about that. I'm really excited to learn about that. And I also think it's like, I know a lot of this information you can get from the game in like codex entries or things like that are like a couple sentences long. You can kind of get the summarizing, but like that doesn't put you like in the character's shoes and like give them the chance to like simmer with them and like hear their insights. So like getting like a summary that like Loghain MacTyr once saved, like the thing, from like,
it isn't the same.
That doesn't, like that doesn't give you the context that this does, which is like really setting up. And I'm just fascinated because like they have this contentious relationship at the beginning of Origins that's like, Marek kind of being like, I don't mind my uncle, he's just grumpy. And Loghain being like, I'm not grumpy, I hate you. And I can't wait to see how we get there from where we are, because I feel like there's just such a long journey ahead.
I am not gonna write this book off of giving me a genuinely different take of why Loghain did what he does. Like we might end this and then it becomes like he genuinely didn't want to do it. It's just that it was like we could all die and that would be bad. Which is what a lot of the characters, that one character in
at Skyhold
Inquisition says.
Yeah.
She's like, well, yeah, we were gonna die, so he led us the other way. And then also, even all the way through Origins, people are like, no, he's a good guy. Like he's done so much good, and he's the reason why Ferelden is Ferelden and not, Orlais Part 2.
Yeah. But he is the do whatever it takes guy. And it's so often, it seems like, cause him having that thought and being like, hey, you know what? I wouldn't send them after me if I were in their shoes. And I was like, yeah. Then they decided to do that. They did the thing you wouldn't have done. And it worked. They saved you, and the rebels won. Like,
I mean, that could be his thing though. Like, if we were to put a fatal flaw on Loghain, maybe it is just pessimism. He's just like, or it maybe not even pessimism. It's just, maybe it is, or maybe it's realism. I don't know how you'd like to put that. Of just like, he's like, yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't do it because the best move tactically is to do this and not. But it's like, yeah, that's the best tactically, but that's just not the best overall move, and he just can't see that. He's like too blinded by himself, I guess. Which is great because his dad is apparently great. Seemed like a cool guy in his dad one chapter that we had his dad. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. His dad.
I loved
was
how
so
much
cool.
they like gave his dad like a full life. Like,
he seemed like
had a wife and a farm and a kid, and then struggled to like pay Orlesian, left, became the like wife was murdered by Orlesian warriors, became this
in front of them. Like it was like
Yeah.
like tortured and killed in front of Logain and his father. Like it was like a
yeah.
intentional, like
Yeah.
psychological warfare kind of thing.
And then was like, cool, I'm going to kill as many Orlesians as possible. Started this army, fell in love with another person, couldn't have anything because of this chantry, but still was like, no, the Rebel Queen is going to win because I'm going to burn Orlais to the ground. Which honestly, I tell you what, this book is making me be like, yeah, we should burn Orlais to the ground, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe this place is fucking evil.
I think it's so interesting because we get so many pieces of this, and the game does sell this to us very well, because we spend, the first game in Ferelden. We spend that whole first game in Ferelden, and we learn that like Orlais is where, in the south at least, because the north is a different story. Tevinter's got a whole imperium. They have tons of money. In the south at least, Orlais are the only people that have like big cities and like
they say that
fashion.
Ferelden is mostly wildlands, like
wild and farm and stuff like that.
Or like has very recently started getting castles and things.
And in the history that we learn in this book, it's like even not that long ago, like Ferelden was, conquered by Orlais, and now like it's like they're I just think the book gives us a little bit more of the insight into how Ferelden is kind of in this poverty compared to Orlais. And so even though Ferelden won their independence, like there's still a disparity, and the history is not all that long ago, that like Ferelden just barely got their win. Got their win. So yeah, I think it does a better job reading the book to like be like, okay, wow, like we're kind of, if you're playing the game, it's easy to think of like Ferelden and Orlais
that it was
as
ages
like
ago,
kind of,
which I kind of always thought it was a long time ago, not like, oh, it was like a decade ago that this shit happened.
Yeah. And like the reason that like Orlais has such pretty shoes and jewels and high fashion and like all this stuff is that like they are an empire, and like you know, like they are an empire, and that is that adds some fun context to things.
Yeah, it does. No, it's cool. Yeah, it's great. I'm having a good time with it. Anyway, I'm sad that Gareth died. It's upsetting.
Yeah, me too. He was
really
cool.
liked him. But I really like. But again, the fact that they put so much character in a guy in one chapter is pretty cool. I like it. There is, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say the most minor criticism. Marek is a little bit too like, it cuts to his inner thoughts and he's like, well, that was awkward. And a lot of like, oh, did I do that? And little quips. I'm like, Marek, you can pack it away. I find you charming. Don't ruin it. Which is just like, it's the most minor thing and it doesn't really matter. But I know I've seen a lot of people be like, I've seen a lot of people comment on the fact that he does that a lot. So it's like, I just want to, I want to say, I agree with it. It's a tad.
Yeah, it hasn't taken me out of it, but I do get it. Yeah.
The thing is I'm really into a lot of the characterization of it, and it does take me out because I feel like it feels like that they're trying to chuck in a joke rather than it's like, and Marek is the one because he's more upbeat, but it still feels like it's not really a Marek move to be saying that stuff. But I might be very wrong. He might be that kind of guy. Anyway, yeah, it's great. It's great. Logain's really fucking cool. I ship the two of them like stupid. Another quote from Marek. Let's not run into anyone then. Logain seemed to have no trouble riding. As if to prove it, he trotted around Marek and brought his horse to stand beside Rowan's. Marek watched him with a grimace and thought, well, of course he's a good rider too. Why wouldn't he be?
Yeah.
Because Marek loves him.
is not good at writing. He's
At
like
writing or
really
doing
not
anything.
good
Yeah.
at much of anything. Like, yeah.
Yeah. It's cool that Aemon and Tegan are mentioned, so that was really cool.
Yes. We don't ever meet them, but we learn that right now they're kids essentially. Like, or they're like
It just has two younger sons away. Yeah, he sent his two
their
younger sons
age.
away to live
Yeah.
with cousins in the far north.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like these people who are going to become leaders of the future Ferelden are right now rebels who are in hiding from the Orlesian army.
Yeah, which is cool.
So like that is cool. It's like all of these people, Marek, Loghain, Tegan, like all of these people.
What's kind of weird, I might be wrong on this because I'm hip-shotting this thought. It feels like this book is kind of like a little Star Wars-y, where all of our heroes are rebels, and then the games are like way in the future when it's like, okay, you won the big rebellion against the evil empire. Who is now in charge of XYZ place?
Right.
And you're seeing like all the things. I don't know, it just feels because it's like that kind of rebel faction, and then there's the one hero that like brings it up. I was like,
and it does make me feel very appreciative of the series as a whole. Well, of the original trilogy as a whole, that does not then try to convince me that the leaders of Ferelden are without flaw. Like just because you were the heroes in your own civil war didn't disqualify you from doing horrible things in the future. Like, which is a good kind of real thing. I feel.
No, I love it. It's great. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite. It feels very Dragon Age. It's one of my favorite Dragon Age things.
Big Dragon Age vibe.
It's like it's why I'm so like, man, I'm loving Loghain in this book. I think he's great. He's so like he's like, yeah, he's grumpy, but has like that kind of charm against his like grump, and you can also read his inner monologue a lot and how he is feeling about a lot of different people around, and you can see that he's a good commander. He does a lot of cool, like, you know, okay, let's just win then. Like, that's just like a cool, fun, like, heroic vibe that I really like. And then knowing that, yeah, in this book, he's a big hero, and in the games, he's going to try to kill you and be literally arguably the main antagonist, because you don't really count the Archdemon as an antagonist. It's just kind of a force of nature.
Right, exactly. He's the
antagonist in it, which is crazy. It's great.
Yeah,
it's huge. I'm loving it. I think it's really good.
It makes me think like, also there is a bit about that I was thinking about. You know what? In the next read, I'm doing what you're doing, and I'm highlighting parts because I want to be able to like reference things a little bit better.
Sound it out. What is it?
But there is a part where I was thinking about, because when we go back to this is a DLC thing, but when in Origins towards the end, you go back to Ostagar in Return to Ostagar, and whose body did they have strung up? The Darkspawn had strung up
Marek.
Right, it is Marek.
Yeah,
they had strung his body up like too worn, and like too mock, and things like that. And there is a part in this that after they meet with the Witch of the Wilds, Marek and Loghain take down.
I think it's just Loghain takes Dammon
down,
because
Loghain?
this is whilst Marek is talking to.
Is it? It's wild that happened. Yeah,
Loghain takes Dammon down.
Takes Dammon down, and has this like proper burial for him, and it like him like taking that care and being like, I didn't even like this guy, but I like it needs to like this needs to happen.
I love him so much.
And then thinking about like the idea that like that Marek's body is going to be disrespected in that same way, by his hands, like essentially like
True.
later on,
I guess so.
It's just like was a thing that like I visualized it. Like I read that passage and then I visualized
I actually
like
forgot that happened. Yeah.
that part on the bridge where you walk and you see his body. Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool. A lot of callbacks. And again, fucking love Logain, dude. So into this fucking guy.
Fucking pissed at that man. So pissed at that man.
Because
Get some sense, Logain. Get some
every
fucking
time,
sense in your head.
hey gang, every time me and Dylan were talking, we'd have to be like, okay, we can't talk about it.
We
because we'd talk and I'd be like, I actually really like Logain, and Dylan would get so upset every time I said it. Was like, we need to stop talking about this right now because I'm gonna get so fucking riled up.
I can't have you liking Logain MacTier. That's crazy.
Well,
That's
tough
crazy.
because it's already happening. He's so interesting. I just think
he's
like,
so interesting.
The thing is, right,
true.
is I am so sure. Call me fucking Delulu. I'm so fucking sure that he becomes a Grey Warden and has to atone, and he's going to become like a great person, like an actual like hero, good guy. He might become my prime Grey Warden. When I talk about how much I love Grey Wardens, Logain MacTier might be number one on my list of favorite Grey Wardens.
The thing is, if Logain MacTier becomes a Grey Warden, there are two ways that happens. One is that Alistair Thurin has to take the throne of Ferelden, which makes him miserable. He is a bad king because he doesn't want to be king, and he sucks and he becomes awful, which is like so unlike Merrick, who was unprepared to be king, but like would do a great job because he had the role model in his mother that he did, and he had the passion for it, and he wants to do it. Or Alistair Thurin becomes a drunk and dies in an alleyway. If Logain MacTier becomes a Grey Warden, Merrick's only last living relative also suffers. Like Logain continues to to lead to the suffering of the Theron family, like beyond his initial betrayal, just to live and lead the Grey Wardens. And like it's just it's a darkest timeline to me, is that Logain lives, and
I think that's a skill issue on Alistair's behalf, though. Alistair should suck it up. But video games make it so it can't happen. Alistair
tells you, I don't want to be king. I do not want this. Don't make me king.
Just be a Grey Warden with Logain and leave the party. That's fine.
Logain MacTier killed Merrick Thurin. Ferelden. You had to kill 1 million people because of that man directly. You traveled all of Ferelden begging for scraps. You had to meet Oghren.
I'm gonna make Logain a Grey Warden. I'm gonna have him fuck Morrigan and then save the realm. He's gonna have a son. He's gonna be happy. I'm gonna make this man happy. We're not gonna name the son Kieran. I'm gonna name him Marek. That's gonna be his son.
The disrespect in that is actually disgusting. The disrespect is outstanding. That's vile. That makes me want to spit. That's
tearing this tattoo off my fucking arm.
I'm gonna burn it. I think. I'll just burn it. It's gonna be fine. Okay. Next time we're gonna do.
Next time.
Do you think we can do the next 5 chapters
in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, gang. This is Patreon content. We are gonna try doing every 2 weeks. We're gonna do 5 chapters. If it's late, it's late. It'll be definitely once a month at least.
But the goal is bi-weekly. I think we'll be fine. I can't wait to jump back in and read the book. So I really genuinely don't have a problem with it. And also,
I know But you're also moving.
I'm moving, but that's in 2 days. And then
Oh, sure.
yeah. And it's wintertime, which means I'm not riding my bike to work. I'm taking the subway. So I have been
Very nice.
reading on the subway instead of fucking doom scrolling on the subway, which is improving my life by a lot. So I think we'll be okay. Because
Sick.
I can really
Yeah.
binge a lot
So
of
we
this,
read
yeah.
chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 weeks we're reading chapters 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If we keep on track, this should mean that we'll be done this book in a few months. There'll be 4 episodes of The Stolen Throne, and then we'll go on to the next one, which
Yeah.
is The Calling. Yeah.
The Calling. Yeah.
Yeah. It fucks.
Oh my God. I love it.
It's great. I'm having a really, really good time with it. Genuinely,
too.
I think it's awesome. I know I keep saying it, but I'm having a good time.
No,
It's cool.
same.
Feels
Yeah.
like Dragon Age. I love the little mentions.
Dragon
I
Age
know that it's
vibes.
in the world, so it's so weird, but being like, yeah, I get excited when they mention a place. They mentioned Lothering, and I was like,
Lothering. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, they mentioned that Olive Redcliffe is there. I was like, oh my God, I know that guy. And it's like, it's just stuff
Yeah.
I'm having a fun time with.
Yeah. There's also a little bit which is like we can't go to Lothering. Like if we go there, like we're leading the army right there, which is also, I feel like a little bit of a call forward to the fact that
Lothering is the
when
one town to be completely wiped off the map.
exactly, we go there as Grey Wardens and we leave and Lothering is destroyed and it's full of refugees. It's full of, you know.
And my best friend lives there. Hawk. Because at the time when you go to Lothering, Hawk lives in Lothering. Because that's the first. That's the first scene of
right.
2 is you're running away from Lothering.
Hawk is fleeing Lothering when Lothering gets destroyed. Yes. It took me so long to like click that.
That's all right.
Yeah. Fucking excellent. All right.
Love it.
Bye.
You wanted a sign off. You were wondering about a sign off.
I was wondering if we want to have a sign off. I don't know.
Let me look at my horny.
Oh, do you know what it should be?
What?
I think we already found it, and I think it's don't stay and lose, stay and win.
I knew it. I was gonna say that. That was gonna be my suggestion as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love you so much. My best friend in the whole world. This is crazy. Holy shit. Don't stay and lose, stay and win. That's it. That's
hey rebels.
Don't stay and lose.
Stay and win.
Stay and win. Love
there you
that.
go.
Huge. Okay, so we kept talking for like 10 minutes after, so we were like, we actually should keep recording because we still have thoughts. I agree that Loghain is an evil character. I want that to be clear. And again, it's like another thing that I said is I am going to try and form some more thoughts on this, of the fact that Loghain kills Marek not directly but through actions, but then also in some way Marek kills Loghain not directly but through actions.
Right.
I don't read this as the uncle thing, as uncle nephew. Dylan brought up that I do just like toxic Yuri.
Yeah.
Fine. Which I do.
I just think that there's going to be some way that the context of this relationship is still going to change, because how do we get from where we are right now to the fact that they remain by their side after Marek becomes king? Like,
there's a full thing where Marek leaves and then Loghain reluctantly, but not even reluctantly, he finds Marek after like a day and is like, well, it's like he plays it off as my dad would be sad or disappointed in me if, I led you here and freed you and then you just got yourself killed here. I just think that Loghain will follow Marek. Like, that's just because he just feels
but then Loghain tries
loyalty
to leave.
in some way.
He tries to leave then later. He's like, all right, I guess it's time
he tries to leave when Marek is safe and then doesn't again, because he just doesn't want to leave Marek. He doesn't like I just think that the pair of them don't want to leave each other.
But like, what is the context that turns Loghain into someone who will be regarded as not just one of Marek's generals, but the lead general and uncle. Like, what is gonna, like, how are we gonna get there? And that's the journey I'm interested in.
The uncle thing, I just can't. I don't know.
I know you can't, because in your mind,
because I don't. I also, it's like,
yeah.
aren't they just? It's like, isn't it kind of a tongue in cheek thing that like he's, you know, their uncle nephew through, like the fact that Marek ends up. First of all, Marek ends up marrying Anora, who is Loghain's daughter, right?
Yep.
That's crazy. First of all, because the difference in age is staggering, considering that Loghain and Marek are the same age. So he's uncle in like a. Wait, no, that would make father-in-law. What is uncle?
It's not. Sorry, it's not. Anora is not. Hang tight. Anora is not Loghain's daughter. Anora
is Loghain's daughter.
Is Anora
Yeah.
the wife of? Oh yeah, she is the daughter of Loghain. I'm trying. I don't want to get too many spoilers, so I'm trying to be careful about my Googling.
Marek is the father-in-law. That's what Marek is the father-in-law of Anora. What the fuck? Wait, Kaelin. Oh, wait. I have gotten the wrong person here. Oh my god, King Kaelin is not
the one that Loghain betrays,
and that's not Marek.
That we know. Yeah. It's Marek is his.
That's my fault. I've been reading these two as the same character this entire time.
I also have a little bit, I think, or I kind of got. Yeah, I got a little tripped up into it.
Yeah, same. Interesting. I'm back in, baby. I'm back in my theory of the fact that these two love each other.
Yeah.
This is so. I did say this off camera. This is a queer story. This is written by David Gator, a gay person. This is a queer tale.
Maybe
that has brought me in so hard to the fact that this is a queer story now.
Yeah, I definitely. Why did I get tripped up and think that?
I think it's because it's a prequel and it has Loghain. The both of us thought that we just read Marek as Kaelin. That is actually crazy. I cannot believe that I had that so wrong.
Yeah. But I definitely did too. I got it very tripped up in my head. So Marek is
the father of Kaelin. And which means of course the uncle thing is there because Loghain, Kaelin and Anora get married. I'm so glad we kept recording actually, because that is such heavy context. That is crazy.
Yeah, and so so that puts the two of them in a brother's relationship. If King Kaelin is calling Loghain uncle,
and no, I still disagree with that, because they're technically, they're technically brothers, but it's because they had children and the children got married. That doesn't mean that they don't love each other in a real, like a actual romantic sense, which again, I don't think would happen. You specifically would know if they did.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It would be known, I think.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. Wild.
That's truly, that's so impressive. I'm so glad
we looked that up. I'm trying to be ginger about how I look things up. Just because I don't want to get spoiled for the book. But yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's not even like it's a spoiler thing. Gingerly looking it up. That is a full, we had the wrong person in our head when we were thinking about stuff.
Yeah. And I was like, I kept almost calling Marek King Kaelin, and I was like, why do I want to call him that? And it's because that's who I was accidentally thinking of.
Yeah. And I was also like, that's why I thought it was so weird. I was like, that's just, the age disparity is huge. It feels like it's crazy that they were born in the same year. Yeah, and it's like, oh, it's because it's a completely different person. Actually.
Completely different person that we're thinking of.
Okay, that's my fault.
Well, okay, cool. Fuck.
Wow,
I can't wait
good.
to keep reading now.
Yeah.
All right.
Now you have to agree with me that this is so much gayer.
I'm
You
sorry.
must.
He's gonna get his son killed.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the he's gonna betray you each time worse than the last means we don't even know all
We
the
don't even
betrayals
know
that are
what is
gonna
happening.
happen in between
Now
him
we
getting
can
his
get
son
heavily
killed.
spoiled. Actually, now spoilers are on the table because I thought we knew the end to this guy, and we don't.
We don't. We fully don't. We were wrong. Yeah. Wow. Egg on my
Fucking
face.
buzzing about it.
I
now.
know. Can't wait to read.
That's crazy.
All right.
Shit.
Bye, bitches.